Greetings, Fire Chargers, Darkblade here, and I am going to be reacting to this video today. It was uploaded on May 27, 2025, and
This Italian trick with raw tomato is making prostate
right away I
surgeries
got an
drop
ad.
across Europe. And in the US,
Welcome to Logic Over Faith. Let's talk about a question that's been at the center of human thought for thousands of years. Does God exist?
Objectively, yes.
Now, we're not here to attack anyone's personal beliefs or experiences, but what we are going to do is look at this question from a logical, philosophical, and historical perspective. We're going to walk through the reasons why many people, including scientists, philosophers, historians, and ordinary thinkers, have come to the conclusion that the idea of God, as presented in religions around the world, simply doesn't hold up under scrutiny. Let's start with the most basic idea. If God exists, especially an all-powerful, all-knowing, perfectly good God, why is the world the way it is? We see natural disasters wiping out entire villages. Children die of diseases before they can even speak. Millions of people go hungry every day. If there were a loving and all-powerful God, wouldn't he have created a world where these things didn't happen? This is called the problem of evil. It's one of the oldest arguments against the existence of a benevolent, omnipotent God. If God
And it's actually self-contradictory, because one of the premises and the conclusion are mutually exclusive. The idea that such a God doesn't exist and that actual evil does indeed exist are mutually exclusive. And also, we learn that God did indeed create a good world. Let me go to the literal beginning. Ending. Genesis 1:4. And God saw that the light was good. And Genesis. The next one is verse 10. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called seas, and God saw that it was good. Verse 12. The earth brought forth vegetation yielding seed according to their own kinds, and trees bearing fruit in which is the seed according to its kind, and God saw that it was good. There's also verse 18 and 21 and 25 and 31.
God is all-powerful, he can stop evil. If he is all good, he would want to. But evil exists, so either he can't stop it, or he doesn't want to, which means he's not all-powerful or not all good. Either way, the idea of a perfect God doesn't add up. Some people try to answer this by saying we have free will, that God allows evil because he wants us to have freedom to choose. But that doesn't explain natural disasters, earthquakes, diseases, or birth defects. No one chooses those. They're not the result of human actions.
This is
They're
false. 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 Genesis 3:17. And to Adam he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten to the tree of which I commanded you, you shall not eat it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In the pain of you shall eat it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field.
The world's design. And if God designed the world, then he's responsible for those things. Think about this. If a human engineer built a car that randomly exploded and killed people, we wouldn't call that loving or good design. We'd call it dangerous. Yet when we look at the flaws in the world, cancer, famine, deadly weather, we're supposed to believe this is the work of a perfect being. And if God wanted humans to learn and grow through suffering, couldn't he find a better way than letting babies die of leukemia or entire cities drown in floods? It just doesn't make sense.
Correct. The argument from evil doesn't make sense because as one of the base premises contradicts the conclusion.
Let's go deeper. Let's look at the idea of God logically. Many religions describe God as infinite, meaning he's beyond time and space, beyond cause and effect. But at the same time, they say he created the universe, answers prayers, gets angry, rewards or punishes us, and interacts with the world. That's a contradiction.
No, it
How can something
objectively
exist
isn't.
outside time and space, but still do things in time and space? Actions require time. To answer a prayer, God has to hear it, decide what to do, then act. That requires a sequence, a before and after. But if God is outside time, there is no before or after for him. So how can he act at all? And then there's the problem of God being a creator. If everything needs a cause, if the universe needs a cause, and that cause is God, then what caused God?
This is a straw man fallacy. Everything that begins to exist has a cause.
God has always existed, just pushes the mystery back a step.
No, it objectively does not. And here's an analogy. For example, let's say that what was I going to say? For example, Yoshihiro Togashi is outside of the timeline of the events that occur in Hunter x Hunter, but he can still shape the events and their sequences. For example, he once said that Hisoka wanted to kill off Machi after coming back to life, but the author, stopped that from happening.
Pushes the mystery back a step. Why not say the universe has always existed?
Because the science says no.
Why is it okay to say God exists without a cause, but not the universe? If we allow that something can exist eternally without a cause, then the simpler explanation is that the universe itself, or the energy that makes up the universe, is eternal.
Again, science says no to that.
We don't need to invent a supernatural being to explain it.
This presupposes that the supernatural being is invented instead of actually existing. So
this brings us to another important point. Simplicity.
Have you heard about Ryoko Pro?
No.
This is the cutting-edge portable Wi-Fi hotspot that people wish they found out about sooner. With this pocket...
In science and philosophy, there's a principle called Occam's razor. It says that when we have two explanations for something, the simpler one is usually better. So if we can explain the universe with laws of physics, energy, matter, and natural processes, then adding a supernatural being on top of that is unnecessary. And that's what we see. The more we learn about the universe, the less we need God to explain it. Ancient people didn't know what caused lightning, so they said it was the gods. They didn't know why crops grew.
They didn't know why crops grew. That is absurd.
So they prayed to the rain god or the sun god. But now we understand weather, agriculture, biology, astronomy. And with every step forward, the God explanation became smaller and smaller. Today, God has been pushed into the gaps of our knowledge.
This is false.
What people call the God of the gaps. But those gaps keep shrinking. Some say, well, science can't explain everything. And that's true, for now. But just because we don't yet have an answer doesn't mean the answer is God. Imagine if
and there are some things that inherently are inherently incapable of having a naturalistic explanation. For example, the origin of nature itself.
Time we didn't understand something, we just said, God did it. We'd never learn anything new. That's not a method of discovery. It's a roadblock. Let's think about religions themselves. There are thousands of religions around the world, many of them with completely different gods, rules, and stories. They can't all be right. In fact, Most religious believers reject all other religions except their own. A
That's what
Christian
you're
doesn't
doing.
believe in Zeus or Thor or Vishnu. A
Yes.
Muslim doesn't believe Jesus is God. A Hindu might believe in multiple gods. So the atheist just goes one step further. We reject one more god than you do.
This is like saying that this homeless person, it's like saying most people don't live in the White House or some other house in Tallahassee or various other hundreds of millions of houses. So homeless people just go one house further. That is absurd.
But here's the real question. Why are religious beliefs so different depending on where and when you're born? If you were born in Saudi Arabia, you'd probably be Muslim. If you were born in India, Hindu. If you were born in the US, Christian. Isn't that strange? If God is real and wants a relationship with us, why does geography decide what we believe? It looks more like religion
This is
is a human
a
invention,
genetic fallacy.
cultural product, than a universal truth. We create gods in our own image, giving them human emotions, desires, and values. Some gods are jealous. Some demand blood sacrifices. Some want obedience. These sound more like the traits of ancient rulers than perfect beings. And then there are the holy books. People point to the Bible, Quran, or other scriptures as evidence of God. But these books are full of contradictions,
That's a claim.
outdated morality, and stories that don't line up with what we know about the world. For example, the Bible says the earth was created in 6 days and is only a few thousand years old.
Okay, the claim that the Bible says the earth is only a few thousand years old is objectively false as admitted by young earth creationists themselves. For example, Ken Ham explicitly says that the Bible doesn't say the earth is WXYZ years old.
But geology and astronomy show us the earth is over 4.5 billion years old. Fossils show a history of evolution going back millions of years. We've dated stars that are billions of light years away. This isn't guesswork. It's based on evidence, observation, and repeatable experiments. When ancient books say things that are clearly false and reflect the limited understanding of the time they were written, it's hard to take them as divine truth. And when they promote slavery, violence, or the oppression of women, they don't look like messages from a perfect God. They look like the laws of ancient patriarchal societies.
This
Now
is
some
a
people say,
non-sequitur.
but look at all the people who believe in God. There must
That
be
was
something
a
to it.
non-sequitur. It has nothing to do with the existence of God itself, which, by the way, is demonstrable.
But popularity doesn't equal truth. Millions once believed the earth was flat, or that the sun revolved around the earth. Belief doesn't make something real. Evidence does. Others say, but I've felt God. I've had experiences. And we don't doubt those experiences felt real. But people have visions, dreams, feelings of peace, joy, or fear all the time. That doesn't mean they're caused by a supernatural being. The human brain is powerful. It can produce intense feelings, hallucinations, even out-of-body experiences. People from all religions report similar experiences. Christians feel the presence of Jesus. Muslims feel the power of Allah. Hindus connect with their gods. But they can't all be experiencing the same truth. These experiences are shaped by culture, belief, and expectation. Let's not forget the role of fear in belief. Many people believe in God not because of evidence, but because they're afraid of what life means without Him. Fear of death, fear of meaninglessness, fear of punishment. Religion often gives people comfort. The idea that someone is watching over them, that life has a purpose, that there's something beyond death. But just because something makes us feel better doesn't mean it's true. Children believe in Santa Claus because it's comforting, a magical figure who rewards good behavior and loves them. But as they grow up, they realize the evidence doesn't support it. They stop believing, not because they want to ruin the magic, but because reality is different from the story. And finally, let's ask this. If God existed and wanted us
But saying that the evidence doesn't support the existence of God is just objectively false.
to believe in Him, why would He make it so hard?
What do you mean?
Why would He give us no clear evidence?
He did.
Why would he allow so many different religions, each claiming to be the truth?
That
Why
just
not just show
happened.
up?
He
If a
did
god
show
wanted to
up.
reveal himself
That-
to humanity, he could write his message in the stars, or appear regularly to people in public. But instead, we have ancient books, written by unknown authors, full of contradictions, edited and translated over centuries. The more we look at it, the more it seems that the idea of God was something created by humans, not the other way around.
What?
Created to explain the unknown. Created to control behavior.
That's a conspiracy theory.
Created to give comfort in the face of fear, but not supported by evidence.
That's false.
Consistent with logic.
That's false.
Not compatible with what we now know about the universe.
That's also false.
This doesn't mean life has no meaning. In fact, it means we get to create our own meaning. We get to be kind, to grow, to explore, to love, not because a God commands us, but because we choose to. And
If there is no God, then it's actually impossible to choose to do anything. The only thing that you can do or think is whatever the chemical reactions in your brain just happen to basically program you to think or do or say believe in that given moment.
maybe that's more beautiful than any ancient story. Not being watched, not being judged, just being human, with all the responsibility and all the potential that brings. Thanks for watching. Living with open.
So that is all for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will, oh great, I forgot to copy the,
Welcome.
okay, now I have copied the link. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow or later today, because I also want to maybe react to this one as well.